3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
All right, welcome to Roots of Reality. I'm your host, Ben Baumann, and today I'm going to be talking about the historical quest for immortality. So one of the defining traits of being human is the contemplation of death. People often wonder, why must my life end? What happens when I die? And is it possible to live forever somehow? And these are questions that have percolated in human minds for thousands of years, with the concept of immortality being first written down in the Epic of Gilgamesh, which was an ancient Mesopotamian story several thousand years ago. Additionally, immortality is at the heart of religions around the world, which seek to make sense of our own mortality. As a result, the concept of being immortal has long garnered fans for centuries. All you have to do is look no further than religious texts like Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, and more, where the concept of some type of afterlife or new life is a major part of each of those doctrines. Obviously, in Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, people are going to heaven, which is the next life that is eternal after this one. So you have to go through this kind of testing phase first, and once you do well in sort of the pre-life stage, which is this, then you can go to eternal life in heaven. Essentially, that's the idea. While in Hinduism, you are simply just reborn via reincarnation. Thus, this life may end, but a new one will begin. So, since ancient times, because of this thought process about immortality and the fear of death, people have been trying to create immortality or live as long as possible, regardless of religious beliefs, because they don't want this life to end. The life that they actually know to be true. For example, today, we have people that will engage in the practice of trying to freeze their bodies in hopes of being revived in the future, an idea stemming from the 1960s, while others have contemplated the futuristic idea of having their mind uploaded to a computer and being preserved somehow in that way. In reality, though, at the moment, there is no evidence that immortality is a near possibility with our species. Now, this does not mean that there are not other life forms that do appear to have some type of immortal-like qualities. For example, the immortal jellyfish, in theory, could live forever due to its ability to restart its life cycle when injured or starving. So essentially, unless the immortal jellyfish is killed, then technically under perfect conditions, it could live forever. In turn, how do we as a species make sense of our predicament, though? We are not the immortal jellyfish, and we are essentially born to die. Yet constantly we have this hunger to cheat death, because though we may be frustrated and depressed in our lives at times and wish things were better, most people would still rather be here than not. And so we have to ask the question, is the quest for immortality even reasonable to begin with? Or is it unnatural and potentially delusional? And I think the whole debate on whether it is worth living forever tends to also kind of avoid the elephant in the room. And that is a couple key issues regarding the entire concept in the first place. Because even if one has the ability to live forever, it doesn't necessarily make them immortal, given unless you are actually physically invincible and cannot die via killing yourself or being killed, then you're technically never actually completely immortal. Additionally, the immortality debate also ignores the fact that we as a species have the tendency of assuming that we have a right to exist in the first place, or that we are supposed to exist, as if we are this chosen species, something often promoted in religious texts. But in reality, there's no real evidence that we are chosen. Obviously, we're certainly lucky to be here, and our mere existence is like winning a lottery ticket. But the universe didn't necessarily have to form the way it did. Our planet didn't have to be in the perfect location in our solar system to host life. And the evolution of life didn't necessarily have to lead to our species stepping foot on this planet around 300,000 years ago. And in fact, if events like the asteroid wiping out the dinosaurs didn't happen 65 million years ago, our species probably would not be existing today. Because this event changed the course of evolution on our planet. And when we zoom in even further at the origins of our species, at the origins of our existence, our ancestors were super lucky to survive the diseases, wars, and famines throughout these hundreds of thousands of years. And we are incredibly lucky that they also met the spouses they happened to meet and have children generation after generation for all these years. And at the cellular level, out of the millions of sperm which have the chance at fertilizing an egg and lead to someone being born to begin with, it just so happened that you and I were the lucky ones to be born and be born healthy enough to be alive to this day. Therefore, our existence truly is no short of a miracle, and it's a gift. And at the same time, the death that awaits us all is a reminder of that gift, because we know that it will end at some point, and that life is short. I mean, potentially, living forever would be nice, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to live forever or just have a longer life. But it's hard to know how many shots we would take to do amazing things and have these amazing experiences in our life if there wasn't this constant ticking clock in our bodies reminding us not to procrastinate, because soon it will all be over. Which then also kind of makes us think about actively the meaning of our short lives and recognize how important it is and that it shouldn't be taken for granted. Now, to take this a step further, the only caveat to all of this is that death doesn't necessarily mean death in the way we think it does. Obviously, we don't really have any experiences of what it's like to actually be dead ourselves. And we don't really have scientific evidence for any type of afterlife. But at the end of the day, we don't really know a lot about what death actually means necessarily. What we do know, though, is that the energy and matter that made up our existence will continue to exist forever, as it always has since the formation of our universe, since the beginning of our universe. So if immortality to you simply means that you will continue to exist in some form, or the things that made up you, the material, the information that made up your existence still has to exist, then technically for all eternity, you do exist in some way, even if that simply means the energy and matter that once encompassed your body. And technically, based on astrophysics, is possible. And then technically, though obviously more sci-fi than reality at this point, if all the energy and matter that made up your body and who you are still exists, then I suppose you could almost put someone back together if you had the ability to collect all that information and restore it. Now, what that means, God only knows. Now, what that would entail or what that would be like if it were to happen, God only knows. That is far beyond our realm of reality at this moment. The point is, though, overall, is that not only are we a part of the universe, but the universe is within us. And everything that makes up us has always existed and will continue to exist, even after we die. So make sense of that any way you want. But regardless, no matter what ideas people have about immortality or extending their lifespans, if there's one thing that we can get from our deaths, it is the reminder to not take our lives for granted. Whether you wish you could live forever or not. Because billions of years led to you, so make the most of it.